Congressman Greg Steube, congressman from Florida's 17th Congressional District, joins us on the phone right now. Congressman Steube, great to have you with us, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Do you think your Democrat colleagues understand guns?
Well, I think what's interesting about that is if you knew anything about firearms and anything about handguns, the fact that the magazine wasn't in it is a pretty good indication that it's not loaded. But that just goes to show you that they have no idea how guns operate, how any of this affects what they're doing. They just hear assault weapons ban, and we're going to ban more than a 10-round magazine. Why do you need more than that? And they don't realize the effect that it has. Or actually, they probably do. This is all intentional. They just cascade it as, oh, we just want to ban any magazine over 10 rounds. But what they ultimately are accomplishing is a whole myriad of semi-automatic handguns, probably most of Americans have, either in their home or as a concealed carry item, that accepts more than a 10-round magazine that may not fit a 10-round magazine and suddenly will be ultimately banned by virtue of the fact that you can't buy something that has more than 10-round magazine.
I mean, we just spoke with a police officer here about an hour ago who was telling us that, and this is true. Majority of cops, they carry the Glock 22, and the most common magazine capacity in the Glock 22 for a service pistol is 15 rounds. So why is it that a police officer should be able to carry more rounds in his obligation to defend the public than a person might be to defend their family?
Well, they shouldn't. But what's interesting is law enforcement was exempted from all of these bills. Because Speaker Pelosi still has to have guys with MP6s and 22-round magazines and all this to protect her. Yeah. The president still needs people to protect him. Members of Congress like Jackson Lee need people to protect her. So they still want people to be able to protect them, but they want to take everyday citizens who almost every day in this country use a firearm for personal protection and saving the lives of other people.
Right. Here's another example of this. A woman who has around the clock for the rest of her life Secret Service protection, Hillary Clinton, tweeted today, quote, "No one actually needs an AR-15, which is a remarkable statement because she is consuming vast amounts of taxpayer resources to have an arsenal of semi-automatic weapons around her at all times.
Well, and what's interesting is, again, Democrats don't understand the functionality of any of these weapons. They say assault weapons and semi-automatic rifles. The way that a semi-automatic rifle functions is the same way that a semi-automatic handgun functions. They call them weapons of war to make them sound like they're the same type of weapons that we get issued when I served in the military and got deployed. These are not fully automatic weapons. As quick as you pull the trigger, whether it's a rifle or whether it's a handgun, is as fast as a round comes out of the chamber. But they want to make it sound like these rifles because they look legitimate and real and scary. They want to make it seem like these are weapons of war, when in fact they absolutely are not. Years ago, fully automatic weapons were banned for manufacturing in the United States. These are not fully automatic weapons. They don't have a 3-round burst selector switch. They operate just the same way that a semi-automatic handgun operates.
One of your Democrat colleagues in the Judiciary Committee yesterday, Eric Swalwell, suggested that you and your Republican colleagues were there to support the killers. And he said that you were against the kids who die as a result of people shooting them. How do you react to that when you have somebody say something so crazy?
Well, what's interesting is when Democrats can't argue you on facts or evidence, because not a single member of the Democratic Party in that committee or otherwise has stated that anything that I said in my 5-minute testimony yesterday was inaccurate. So when they can't beat you on the facts or evidence or the issue at hand, they move to attacking you. You're insensitive. How dare you bring up a firearm in a hearing when we're talking about, children that have died? Well, the hearing wasn't about the children that were massacred by a lunatic. The hearing was about taking away your rights as an American citizen on the Second Amendment to our Constitution to be able to lawfully carry a firearm. But when they can't beat you on the facts or the evidence, they go to an emotional attack and they go to calling you names because they know that if they say racist or insensitive or otherwise, the mainstream media will just run with that and they'll forget all of the facts that you actually stated in the committee hearing.
Yeah, and of course, as usual, it's like projection anyway. I mean, this is that they're the party that's constantly advancing bigotry and asking people to judge each other on the basis of immutable characteristics and causing confusion among children and leading to so much of the chaos that we're seeing among young people and despair. And they sit there and they lecture you and they say, well, you're the ones who aren't interested in protecting the kids. Please spare me. Also, Joe Biden last night, Congressman, stepped up to the microphone in a primetime campaign address. He called for a ban on so-called assault weapons, high-capacity magazines, which we just heard you address a moment ago. He also said that he'd like to see the age at which a person could purchase a gun be raised from 18 to 21 years old. He wants more background checks for private transfers of guns. He wants to repeal a supposed legal immunity for gun manufacturers, which is non-existent. They have the same immunity from prosecution as a car manufacturer does, which is, you know, if you hit somebody with a car and you're the one who can be sued, not the car manufacturer. It's the same way it works for guns. And on and on. He has some other ideas, red flag laws as well. What stands out to you about Joe Biden's speech and ideas last night?
Well, the first thing, if you go back and watch it in the very beginning, he tries to strike somewhat of a moderate tone in saying, we are not going to take your guns. And then not 30 seconds later, he's saying, we need an assault weapons ban. We need a ban on high-capacity magazines. We need this. We need that to take away your guns. So he wants to be able to say, oh, no, we're not taking away your guns. But then, oh, actually, you are. And towards the end of his speech, he said, you know, this is part of my unity agenda. Since when did President Biden have a unity agenda? Nothing that he's ever done since he's been president has been meant to try to unify the country together on a single issue. It's been meant to divide. From everything that he's done, from energy, from foreign affairs, you name it, that's what his agenda has been. It's kind of funny that he has to start saying that he has a unity agenda so the mainstream media will talk about the fact that he has a unity agenda that's completely non-existent.
Yeah, he's shown no evidence of that, that's for sure. All right, so Congressman Greg Steube, additionally, another one of your Democrat colleagues, Mondaire Jones, this is what he said yesterday. I want people to hear this. This is what they're saying. If they don't get the legislation they want, they're going to destroy every institution that's in their way. Take a listen.
Enough of your thoughts and prayers. Enough. Enough. You will not stop us from advancing the Protecting Our Kids Act today. You will not stop us from passing it in the House next week, and you will not stop us there. If the filibuster obstructs us, we will abolish it. If the Supreme Court objects, we will expand it, and we will not rest until we have taken weapons of war out of circulation in our communities. Each and every day, we will do whatever it takes to end gun violence, whatever it takes.
Congressman Greg Steube, tearing down our institutions in order to achieve your political agenda sounds kind of insurrection-y, to be honest with you.
And it shows their exact playbook of what their real motives and intentions are. That's what they've wanted to do from the beginning. And then when they take your guns away, then they're going to pass H.R. 1 and S1 to completely overvamp and federalize our election system. So states like Florida that have voter ID requirement laws and don't allow legal immigrants to vote, that they can do away with all of that in the states that have it and have Democratic rule into perpetuity. And that's exactly what their motivation is on all of this.